Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to show you how I meal prep my Clean Eats crock pot chicken tortilla stew. So this is a really good time to use that frozen chicken broth or chicken stock that we made. If you don't have frozen chicken stock, not a problem, but I wanted to demonstrate what I do when I want to use it. I just use kitchen shears or kitchen scissors, we call them shears, I don't know. And I'm just gonna cut the plastic off. You could have thawed this overnight in the refrigerator, but then I'm afraid sometimes it's gonna leak, so I just go from frozen, and that's garbage. And the same thing with this one. So I freeze these in 2-cup quantities in freezer-safe Ziploc bags, and I freeze them flat. So the twins are in the mudroom being crazy, so you might be hearing some weird noises. So this is 4 cups of chicken broth or chicken stock. You can also use a carton full, that is totally fine. And then I've already opened most of these. I use 1 jar of the Trader Joe's salsa verde, so you guys can see that. This is a 12-ounce jar. You don't have to use this brand. You can use any kind of salsa verde. And then we have 1 can of Rotel diced tomatoes with chilies. I usually get spicy or like the hot ones, but I got mild on accident, but I think it's gonna be better because I'm gonna make this mild so that the kids will eat it. I've been really working on making a lot of things more mild, even though my husband and I like them spicy. The kids will eat them when they're mild, and then we can just add spice at the end. So that's what we've been doing. 1 can of tomato paste, any kind will do. I just buy it in bulk at Costco. And I'm gonna use this little spoon, get it all out. It does seem like a lot, but it adds really great flavor, and it also adds like a thickness to this. We call it a stew. My husband is not a fan of soups. He doesn't like soupy, watery things, so I try to make my chilies and soups and everything pretty thick for him, and even sometimes he still wants to add like crackers or something to thicken it. So this adds a really nice thickness. I've pre-measured all of my spices, so I'm just gonna put those in there, but I will link to the recipe below. It has a tablespoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon ground cumin, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and there's a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which is optional, but we are omitting it today. So again, like I said, we're trying to make a mild version so the kids will eat it. The other ingredient that I love and use a lot is the Better Than bouillon. This is organic reduced sodium, which is the kind I'd recommend. It has like less fillers and strange ingredients, but they have a great line of products. There's so many different flavors, and the large jars like this can be found at Costco. So you need about a tablespoon. This is one that I'm gonna eyeball, but you can measure it. I'm just gonna use that same, this is called a spoon. It's so funny, my mom got this for me. It's great, it's for like scraping stuff out of peanut butter jars and stuff, but I use that all the time. Look, I'm doing tomato paste or the bouillon. Okay, so that stuff is all in. This would normally be liquid if you're using like the jar or the box. This will melt as we cook it. So that's all of those ingredients. The pinto beans and corn will go in at the last 1/2 hour of cooking. So this is really all you need right now. Then we're going to add our chicken. So I buy chicken at Trader Joe. You can buy whatever kind of chicken you want, whatever your family uses. You can even use the frozen chicken breast or chicken thighs. Totally fine in this recipe. You can also prepare this as a freezer recipe. I don't have enough ingredients today, but when I do double, I'll put 1 set into the crock pot, and then I have this little stand here, and I put a freezer bag into it, and then I'll just put all the ingredients directly into there. If you're freezing this recipe, you do not need to put the chicken stock in. You'll just put that in the day of cooking. So you would put the chicken, the spices, the canned items, and the bouillon, lay it flat and freeze it. So I just wanted to show you what I would do, but I actually don't have enough stuff to make 2 today, which is not really like me, but that's okay. So my recipe calls for 3 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I try to lighten it a little bit. A lot of people ask, why can't you use chicken breast? Well, you absolutely can use chicken breast. It's just going to result in a drier finished product. So what I've done, and I can update this on the recipe too, is I use 1/2 chicken breast and 1/2 chicken thighs. It lightens it up a little bit. You're still getting the leaner protein, but you're also getting some of the fat and flavor from the thigh. So I do 1/2 and 1/2 now, and I think it's perfect. You can totally use all chicken breast if that's what you feel comfortable with, but it's just gonna change the flavor and make it a little bit drier. So then you can just put your chicken breast and chicken thighs. Now I have about 4 pounds here, so what I'm going to do is put, I'm gonna put 2 chicken breasts and I'm gonna put 4 chicken thighs in. Actually, it looks like I got, yeah, 1, 2, because it came with 5. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to freeze the extra chicken breast and the 2 thighs for a future recipe. Okay, I'm not making the full chicken tortilla stew in the freezer bag, but I am freezing the extra 2 chicken thighs and chicken breasts, and I can use that in a variety of recipes in the future. So in here, I have about 3 pounds of chicken, the rest of the ingredients, and I'm gonna put the top on. Excuse me, my fingers are right there. And where's my top? Oh, it's over here. We'll set this. Look at me, I don't even have it memorized. I have to check. I will set this on low for 6 hours. Now I'm gonna up it to 7 hours because I'm using frozen broth. So it's gonna take a while for that broth to melt. So we're gonna do 7 hours on low, and then I will come back and show you what we do next. And I also just wanted to show you how I keep all of my recipes. I'm updating my website to have all printable recipe cards. So this one was already printable, I believe. So I print them and I put them into this plastic binder, page protector, and then it all goes into a binder. Just grab this, follow the recipe, and put it away. If you don't want to print, you can also do it electronically. You can have your tablet set up, whatever you want to do. So I'll check in with you guys later. Hey guys, I was cleaning up from the recipe and realized I totally forgot one of the ingredients, which is 1 cup of chopped onion. So you can chop a fresh onion, but this is another great time to use the frozen onions. I've talked about this before. Oh my gosh, what are you boys doing? So this is frozen diced onion. It makes it so easy. We're just gonna measure 1 cup out of here, put it into our crock pot, and then we will turn it on for 7 hours for low. So just wanted to add that in, and I'll show you right now. My kitchen shears are gone. Let's use a knife. And since the boys are being crazy, I'm not even gonna measure it. I'm gonna eyeball it because I have to go get them. About a cup of chopped onion. There you go, easy peasy, totally done. Now we're ready. Okay, welcome back. It has been 7 hours and we are going to move on to the next step of our crock pot chicken tortilla stew. All right, so this is what it's going to look like. It's pretty soupy at this point, which is not what my husband liked, but it's really gonna thicken up when we shred the chicken and when we add the beans and the corn. Okay, so what I do, you can use a spoon or a tongue. I'm gonna take out your chicken and you can shred it however you would like. I'm gonna use the 2-fork method today. There's lots of different ways to do it. If you wanna put it in your stand mixer, that's a great way to do it. I'll do a video on that a different day. Or you could like kind of chop it too, depending if you want more like chunks or if you want more shreds. So I'm just gonna do like a loose, make sure I got it all out of here. I feel like there should be another one in here somewhere. I think the other one like fell apart a bunch because it's just cooked low and slow almost all day. Yeah, it's like already falling apart as you can see. So I actually like some of the bigger chunks, so I'll leave anything else in there. And then the thighs come apart really easily. It's just because they're a little bit more fat to them. The darker meat just is a little bit more tender. Look how easily that comes apart, okay? Put that right back in. And the same thing, the chicken breast also comes apart. You can just tell it's a slightly drier meat. There's less fat to it, and you can just tell even when you're shredding with the tines of the fork that it feels a little bit different in the texture. Okay, and then I'll use my tongs here to get it back in. Sometimes I'll just shred it all and then just slide it all from the cutting board, but there is a lot, so I don't think it's all going to work. Maybe the rest of it will. So while I continue to shred this, I'll talk a little bit about the corn and the pinto beans. I put in 2 cups of frozen and thawed corn kernels. This is the brand that I use. It's from Trader Joe. I think you can see it on the screen right here, okay? I love it. It's super sweet. You can get any brand though. It doesn't have to be this brand. I just always have a bunch of this in our freezer. And this is thawed. It would not be the end of the world if you forgot to thaw it and just put it in frozen. It's gonna heat up really quick in this broth. So I do have 2 cups thawed right here. And if you guys love corn in your family, you can add more corn to it, totally fine. And then I have 1 can of pinto beans. that I drained and rinsed in my favorite colander. It's just still dripping on the tray. If you don't like pinto beans, you can do black beans. You could omit the beans. I love pinto beans in it, and that's what we use. So those will go in too. Okay, so we're almost done shredding, and I like big shreds for a couple of reasons. Sometimes my kids don't like to eat meat. They get a little bit weirded out by it, and that's totally fine. So sometimes they'll just want to like pick out the chicken pieces, and the bigger chunks make that a lot easier. And then just sometimes I just like the bigger, meatier chunks, especially if I'm gonna be pulling some chunks out to feed the twins. It's easier than having like really, really thin shreds. Plus I just feel like it makes it a lot heartier, like a stew. Okay, so we'll put that right here. And then I'm gonna scooch this over. Put in our pinto beans. And if you love pinto beans, you can add extra pinto beans. This is the ratio I developed for the recipe, but you know what? If you love a certain ingredient, then go for it. Okay. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it back on low for another 30 minutes. And that's just kind of for like all the flavors to come together, for the beans and corn to warm up. And then you have this really beautiful stew or soup. Now, it is a little soupy for my husband's take still. You can see there's still like a broth to it, which I love. He does not, so when I scoop his out, I'll leave a lot of the broth in and do like a scoop more like that when I fill his bowl. But we also top it with sour cream, fresh avocado. Sometimes we have cilantro in the house. We'll put cilantro on there, tortilla strips. And if you're out of tortilla strips, I can show you, we just crumple up actual tortilla chips, and shredded cheese if you're a cheese family. If you're not a dairy family, sour cream probably wouldn't work for you, but you could do like a tofu sour cream alternative. So there's all kinds of delicious things, or you can eat it just as is. It's awesome just like this. So I will get a picture when we're ready to eat, but it's gonna go back over and sit on the other counter where I plug it in, and we're gonna do 30 more minutes. So I'll show you the final product in just a minute.